Welcome to Kava and Kettlebells, where we talk about Kava, fitness, and life. Let's get Kavafied.
All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Kava and Kettlebells. This is Charles.
Hey guys, this is Heidi. Thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't already, go ahead and take 5 seconds, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell to subscribe, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Kava_Kettlebells, share with your friends and family, and really help us get this message out. All right, on today's episode, we are going to be talking all about vitamins and supplements and all the glorious tons and tons of ones that we use.
And so, to preface, these are our staples, okay?
So there's more.
Well, this is what we take, I would say, year-round, month to month, week by week, daily.
Yeah.
Travel with most of these. No, we don't bring all the bottles and stuff. We put them into plastic bags and things. But today's whole episode, because we get this question asked all the time, what supplements do you guys take? What do you guys, use? So we figured we would show you. This is on, again, a daily routine. These are our favorite supplements that we like to do.
Yeah, so we will get into that, but first we will do our workout of the day, give you little updates about us, and then we'll get into it.
Let's go.
So yeah, you can go first with your workout for today.
Me first?
Yeah, we'll mix it up a little bit.
That's caught off guard. All right. So today was leg day, and last night was pizza night. So I had some pizza and some ice cream, which always is nice because the next day's leg day.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, it's always the question, like, do we have pizza to refuel from our leg day that day? Or do we have pizza the night before to fuel up for leg day?
Yeah.
But either way, that means pizza every day. So it's fine.
But yeah, so today was leg day. So my last leg day, I did it at home. And when I do home workouts, I usually just do squats. So today I did a little bit of barbell squats, but not much. I did 3 sets. I did 135. I went to 225. I think I did 20 reps. And then my last set, I did 15 reps. So not a lot. I warmed up with the squats. I did walk-in lunges, body weight lunges. I did hamstring curls, the kind where you're laying on your belly on the machine. And that's one of my favorite ones to do. I feel like I get the most activation of my hamstrings versus the one machine where you sit there like this, you put your legs up and you curl it towards you. That one, I have a hard time feeling. I like where I'm laying on my belly and, I'm like, here's my legs, I'm curling them.
Yeah,
up.
he just likes to show his booty off. That's why he likes it.
I'm just hoping when I'm on my belly, Heidi comes up and just slaps my ass,
It's happened.
Then I did quad extensions, but today, usually I do them on the machine where you do it together, but our gym has one where it's plate loaded and you can go individually. So I did that and I was kind of focusing just on the squeeze, really trying to get the pump in the muscle. Because again, today wasn't really a strength-based workout. I was going for more high reps, so focus on the squeeze, all that. Of course, hit calves, the standing calf raises, and I didn't I feel like I didn't do I didn't go that hard today.
Yeah.
Good, I think, because again, I did legs probably 4 days ago. So today I just felt like going lighter.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Yeah. So legs were for me today as well. Definitely much more of a lower intensity leg day for me also. So I am, of course, house divided. I do deadlifts on leg day. That's what I start with. So I did quite a bit of deadlifts. We also have been throwing around the idea of me possibly doing a powerlifting competition just for deadlifts. So
it's not an idea. I am signing her up, so she's going to do it regardless.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll give you more details on that. But so I did that deadlifts. And then right after that, I stay with the same bar and I do Romanian deadlifts. And then I have been, if you've been watching, I've been hesitant to do barbell back squats for almost 2 years now because dealing with some sort of hip issues. But I've been going to physical therapy, kind of doing my own physical therapy and easing back into barbell back squats, which has been nice. So I ended with just a lot of those really lightweight. And I would do the squats and then I would go into just a superset right into calf raises just with the bar on my back. So that's all I did today, and it felt good though. I felt like I hit the main muscles of my legs and the glutes, of course, and yeah, I felt good.
Nice. Well, speaking of glutes, you've also been working out your glutes gardening lately.
Yes, yeah. So we started a garden. Okay, so if you've been following at all, like on Instagram, I have what I have self-proclaimed as a black thumb. And basically I kill everything. I love plants. Like I love having them in the house.
She's not lying.
But I either like I overlove them. I give them too much water and we'll get like gnats, or I don't know. Like when we came here, I had a plant that I'd had for, so sad. I'd had it for like 4 years. It went from Arizona to Alabama to Florida, and then it died. And I think it's because inside we don't get any like direct sunlight because we have a pool cage. And that's the only like direct sunlight. So anyways, we have all these raised garden beds, and I've just been really scared to try and plant anything. But one day we had a tomato plant just start growing.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. They call them, my sister told me that they call them, I don't even remember what they call them.
Like a miracle baby?
Yeah, they're just
Something.
like, it's like they, man, we'll have to add it in the show notes, but they basically, it's a plant that you didn't plant yourself, and it just sort of sprouts and really thrives. And I'm like, okay, so this motivated me and our daughters to go pick out some seeds and see what would happen. So far, nothing. Because again, I have a black thumb.
And I have a section of garden where I put my special seeds in there for a special type of plant. So, no,
and our dog, all he does is, I feel like our dog is going to be the hardest part to grow anything because he just kind of runs through them. He poops all over, which would be good fertilizer, but I don't know.
Do you think though, if I just like took like marijuana seeds and just threw them in there, they would?
I don't know. I think there's a lot more that goes into
Probably
it.
is. There's probably why there's a whole industry.
Yeah.
Growing, cannabis.
Yeah.
So
Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on our garden, and if anything besides tomatoes, actually.
But we ate the tomatoes too.
So the tomatoes are doing awesome. We've been eating them. They're amazing. We didn't plant it, so that's probably why it's the only thing growing, but we'll see.
So don't be expecting us to be at a farmer's market anytime soon with kava and kettlebells.
Yeah, it's sad because our girls were so excited. They picked out like watermelon and cucumbers and green beans.
That shit's not growing.
No, and they had it in their mind that we were going to like stand on the corner and just have like a produce stand. And I'm like, don't get your hopes up, girls. All right. Anyways, let's about
get to it.
Vitamins and supplements. So a lot of people, especially clients, will ask me, like, what's good multivitamin? Like, what are good vitamins and supplements? And I always say I'm the wrong person to ask because we take a lot, and the average person, likely isn't going to commit to taking this much, but we think they all serve a purpose.
And here's the thing. You don't need this.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say too, over anything, if you're feeling a certain type of way, if you're feeling fatigued, maybe you feel like, you're malnourished or whatever it is, get your blood work done. So Heidi and I both get our blood work done quite often. Well, first of all, because we're both on hormone replacement therapy, so we have to get our blood work. I also get my blood work at the VA, just part of like my primary care, not pre-K. Sometimes I feel like I'm in kindergarten, but
he's so cute.
But it's, especially when we're talking about things like vitamin D, B12, all that kind of stuff, iron deficiencies, your blood work will show that. Okay. So either go through your primary care doc, or if you have like a functional medicine doctor, usually they have kind of like a better gauge on that as well.
And we'll do another episode on like hormone replacement therapy because that's huge. And a lot of, your primary care, your insurance won't cover that, but there are so many different wellness clinics, women specifically or male specific clinics, and it's really not that expensive, and they'll do your blood work regularly. So really important just, to optimize. We'll do another episode on that. But a lot of times you hear people throw around the idea of you don't need vitamins, you don't need supplements, you can get everything from your diet. And I think that's bullshit, especially with a modern day food. It's really hard. Like, you can do your best, and you should do your best to try and eat whole foods, to eat a rainbow, to eat a variety of meats.
It's hard though.
But it's really hard unless you're eating organ meats, liver, gross. He likes it, not me. It's near impossible. And I remember reading a study where they asked specific various like dietitians, like create a 2,000 calorie, which I know, especially you women, not very many of you are eating 2,000 calories, but a 2,000 calorie meal plan that will hit all the micro and macronutrients that people need. And they couldn't. Like, it was tough.
It's super hard. And again, the term supplement, right? It's ultimately supplement your diet. And everyone thinks about vitamins and minerals, but we're also talking about things too that enhance performance, right? We'll kind of go into this. And again, everything should have a valid use case. And I'm really big on supplements should have scientific backing to them. I should be able to go on to PubMed and find studies that back up claims for the ingredients, right? Now, something like I'm about to talk about right here, citrulline. I mean, citrulline has studies on it, but if you've taken citrulline before, you feel that shit when you work out, right? You get a better pump and all that kind of stuff. Some of these things are, can be a little bit hard to quantify, but, being a gym rat for the past 20 years, also I worked at a vitamin shop in college too. Like at the vitamin shop, I worked there. Sometimes it is hard to tell someone something's not working when they're having tremendous results from it. And that's the one thing they've added to their routine and haven't changed anything else.
And that's like been super big in the bodybuilding space, especially because for years, like bodybuilders do things, they take things and they do things in the gym, and it obviously works for them. Like, you cannot argue, like, they're able to transform their physique and their body, and you can't tell them it doesn't work. But people will say, well, what's the science? Like, there's no science behind it. And that's true. Like, you do need the science, but some of it is just, you can't argue with anecdotal evidence. When you can't argue when like so many people, they feel better. And just because there may not have been a multi-million-dollar, 10-year long study on it, doesn't mean that it's not effective.
Now look at things too, like herbs. I mean, some herbs have been used for thousands of years. And I think in the modern day time, it's easy to, shit on, certain herbs and stuff like that. Be like, oh, pseudoscience. But, part of me is like, well, something's been used for so long, there's probably a reason. And even stuff like we have aspirin, right? Aspirin's a pain reliever. But for centuries, they use white willow bark. And, you can still find white willow bark. They still have that in most places, right? And that's always been a common natural pain reliever. Now, it's not as potent as, say like high doses of Tylenol or your other NSAIDs out there, but it's been used for a long time because there's validity to it. But yeah, that's kind of like a little rant.
Yeah.
And there's also a lot of bullshit supplements out there too, especially when it comes to like muscle building performance. There's a lot of stuff out there where it's like, yeah, like that's just, a money grab.
Yeah.
Sure.
So let's kind of get into it. So I think the first thing that I want to talk about is grass-fed beef liver. So anytime clients ask me like what multivitamin they should take, I always say your best bet is beef liver. And the reason is it's more of a whole food. Obviously, it's in a processed, pill form. But most multivitamins, your body is just not able to absorb them the way you think it is. And they have tons of binders and fillers. And grass-fed beef liver it's really as pure as you can get if you're not going to eat the actual liver, which I'm not.
Yeah, and this is from Doublewood Supplements. Doublewood Supplements is a really good brand. They're really big on Amazon. That's where we get most of ours from. And Doublewood, they do have their testing on, and that's another thing too. Most supplement companies these days, and even like we talk about like Kava and Kratom, which we'll kind of get into, but we'll have testing behind it, right?
Yeah.
To show you that like what you're getting is actually in the bottle. But it is still very, very common, especially on Amazon, to still find supplements that are counterfeit. So again, why you just gotta make sure you're buying from like the main source or from the manufacturer. That way you're getting the right thing.
Yeah, so with beef liver, you're going to get lots of vitamin A, which is important to know because you should not take an additional vitamin A supplement. You can, for lack of a better word, overdose on vitamin A, and it can be too much. And you get it in its pure form as well, the sort of the riboflavin of the vitamin A. Yes, there we go. And you get a lot of vitamin B, which is really great. That vitamin B, you get iron, things that you get copper, zinc, you get choline, which is great for your brain. What you do not get, though, in beef liver that you would get in a multivitamin is magnesium, calcium, and fiber. So we'll kind of get into those, ways you can take those. So you can take those additionally, but that being said, I still would recommend grass-fed beef liver over just generic multivitamin, as your body's going to process it better and you're going to get better quantities of those key vitamins that I said.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I'm going to pick the next one right here. I'm going to go with one of the most studied substances out there, caffeine. This is just pure caffeine right here. Now, caffeine...
Some call it a substance, some call it a drug. You choose.
But one of the most studied stimulants, and especially for those who are into fitness and strength, caffeine is one of the most proven ways to increase endurance, increase strength, increase liposis, which is fat loss, right? Alertness, everything. Caffeine is like the go-to performance enhancer. There's, like I said, tons of studies on caffeine's effectiveness. Now, as far as dosaging, right, we know that the upper limits per day can go up to like 600 milligrams, but I think that's a lot. I think more of the 200 milligram to 400 milligram range is good. That's anywhere from like 2 to 4 cups of coffee. Again, for us though, like we'll do pre-workout, but a lot of times, like I'll just make my own pre-workout. And my stack will be caffeine, citrulline, creatine, L-tyrosine. And we'll get into more, those here in a bit. But tried and true performance enhancer. This is always in our daily stack, whether it's for pre-workout or just to help with alertness and things like that.
Yeah. So another one I want to get into is going back to the magnesium. Some of the biggest deficiencies that people have are magnesium and vitamin D. Even if you live in a sunny place, you need a ton of sun. And it's not just your face, you got to be naked. Who's walking around naked? Him. He sunbathes naked in our backyard.
Yeah, sometimes.
But the average person is not, walking around naked for like hours every week. And we got our blood tested from our hormone places, and I was slightly deficient in vitamin D. When you have a magnesium and vitamin D deficiency, a lot of feelings you'll feel are sleep issues possibly. You'll have like fatigue, you'll feel weak, you'll feel anxious, depressed, and just like mood swings. And a lot of times taking a simple vitamin D supplement, which costs like $8.
Well, I was gonna say even just magnesium has been shown to help with depression.
Yeah. Like those are the three big ones: anxiety, depression, and fatigue. Often the first thing you need to do is get your blood tested. And a lot of times it's just a simple magnesium or vitamin D deficiency.
For magnesium, I like magnesium glycinate. And this is Nature's Bounty brand. We actually get this from Costco. It's a really good price. This one is especially good for sleep. So magnesium, if you're having insomnia issues, which if you guys have been listening to us for the past 2 years, you know that I've had insomnia issues. Magnesium glycinate is a staple. I do not travel without magnesium glycinate. This is for sleep, but again, for supports nerve health, muscle cramps. It's, for blood pressure, everything. It's such a good mineral that most people are deficient in that you should definitely supplement with.
Another one about magnesium is I've had clients who feel like they just don't have an appetite, and it's because they're deficient in magnesium. And taking that magnesium, just give it to me all. Taking that magnesium allows them to get the appetite back to eat the foods that they need to eat to really fuel their body properly.
Now, so I know you're talking about the, vitamin D.
Yeah.
So this is from Sports Research. We get this again at Costco. And Costco's got really good
They
deals
do.
on their supplements.
And they're good. Like they have good supplements.
Yes. And this one is D3 plus K2. K2 helps with the absorption.
Well, it's not really the absorption. It's okay. So if you think of the vitamin D as like the materials your body needs, the vitamin K essentially tells it where to go. So your body will absorb the vitamin D, but it sometimes doesn't know where to put it, and it will put it in places it doesn't need. The vitamin K kind of directs it where it needs to go, so that your body
helps it absorb it.
So your body, it's more effective. So it feels more effective. If you're just taking regular vitamin D and you don't feel a difference, if you take vitamin K with it, you'll feel the full effects.
Yeah, I like this one too because it uses coconut MCT oil in here as well to also help with absorption.
You are correct. Fats do help with that absorption.
But so like Heidi was saying, even, we're in South Florida, we get a lot of sun. Her last blood test came back, she was low on vitamin D.
Yeah.
So that's why she's supplementing. I only use it once every 3 days. I use vitamin D, and that keeps my levels in check. But I also get a lot of sun.
And he's a darker skin tone, and that affects how your body absorbs the vitamin D from the sun as well. And so I obviously am not, I have a much paler complexion, and so I just don't absorb. So pale. And
does everyone know that video?
I don't. If you know what we're talking about, the newscaster who was like, so pale, drop it in the comments. You're our hero.
All right, the next one we'll talk about, I feel like is one of the most underrated performance enhancers, like by far. Electrolytes, okay, it is so freaking cheap. Like this, we got NutriCost is one of my other favorite brands. They're really big on Amazon. NutriCost, they're third-party tested, excellent prices, and they have an abundance of just single ingredient and formulated products. I love NutriCost. Most stuff that I do get is NutriCost, right? Because again, these are our core supplements. But if you go over to our kitchen,
so if you've been to our house before, we have what's called the sup shop.
There's multiple.
We have 2 sup shops. We should do like a story just to show everyone. So we have our big sup shop. So we don't have a pantry. We have like floor to ceiling cabinets, basically like double cabinets, and that's like our pantry. And one of them is completely, so the lower one is like food and stuff, and the upper one is like big supplements and like our protein powder, things like that. And then we have small cabinet, and that's our small sup shop.
But going back to electrolytes, every morning when I wake up, and again, we work out first thing in the morning. So I'm going from a whole night of not hydrating. I make sure I do, a nice 12-ounce glass of water first thing when I wake up. Then with my first meal, pre-workout, I do electrolyte caps. Now, electrolytes, if you've been lacking a pump in the gym, if you notice that, you can't stay hydrated, even if you're drinking a lot of water, you need to add electrolytes. I like this formula right here because they actually use Himalayan pink salt as their source of sodium in here. And again, sodium, if you have high blood pressure and you're eating a lot of processed foods, you should probably cut back on your sodium. But if you're healthy and you're eating whole foods and you're drinking the amount of water that you should, plus some, especially if you're active, you need to have sodium. And gym performance, your muscle contractions, endurance, how you feel, how your muscles hydrate, you gotta have electrolytes. And I love these because this is 120 capsules. I think I get this on Amazon for under $10.
Yeah, really cheap, and it lasts, a long time.
Yeah, it lasts both 60 days. 2 months.
And Charles also sweats a ton in the gym.
Ton.
So if you are sweating a ton, you're losing all of that, and you really have to be intentional about replenishing it. Another thing is, a long time ago, we always joke and say like the boomers, we're very low sodium. That was a really big thing. Like everything was low sodium, low sodium. Sodium is important. You have to have sodium. You only want to focus on your sodium if you eat a highly processed diet, because that has naturally a lot of sodium. But usually if you increase your water and you find that you're getting a headache as you drink more water, that is a sign that you're deficient in sodium. And I always say, because I have clients that are like, I'm drinking more water and I'm getting a headache. I'm like, you need to pound some salt. Like, just honestly add salt to it. Drink some salt water, eat some potato chips. Like, you need to get more sodium, and that will help your body absorb the water.
I think one of my favorite things to do too, I'll do this throughout the day. I'll lick my fingers and I keep a little bowl of salt out. And I just go by and I dip my fingers in there and just.
That is disgusting. Ew.
Joking. All right, on to the next one.
Is he?
On to the next one. I'm gonna hammer out all
That
the
being
basics
said,
here.
don't be afraid of salt, especially if you eat whole foods. Load up the salt.
All right, next one, zinc. Another very, very basic one that a lot of people are deficient in. For men especially, zinc is a cornerstone for hormones. If you're natural and you're not enhanced, right, with like TRT or other stuff, this is a good way to make sure you're hitting your basis, your building blocks as far as your hormones. For immune system, it is excellent. Now we use Solgar, which is a old school vitamin brand. They have been around for a long time. They come in glass bottles. I really like them. I remember when I worked at the vitamin shop, actually, I loved like stocking these in the shelves. Like they would. It sounds weird.
I love the way the glass feels
because like
on
they're
my
glass
fingers.
and like they look like kind of fancy. I just like them. They're quality. But we use the zinc picolinate version, and we use it mostly for immune system. And honestly, guys, we're not saying this to brag, but we probably get sick maybe once a year.
Yeah, like our kids don't get sick, and that's I'll be honest, we haven't been as intentional about it as we have in the past, but we have our kids take a beef liver capsule, a vitamin D, and a zinc. And
they have their own special zinc.
Yeah, they have like children's
Low dose.
zinc. Yeah, low dose children's zinc. You have to make sure that you eat it with food, though. Some people can handle it without. Most people, it'll make you nauseous. And our kids like hardly ever get sick. So definitely consider those for immune support.
All right. Who likes having good poops?
I do.
Dude, I love having a nice shit.
Like, there is nothing that feels better. So again, we wake up in the morning and we go to the gym, and it is always like so satisfying when you get a good poop out before the gym, and always so frustrating when you don't.
Honestly, most mornings I'm woken up by not the smell of fresh brew coffee. It's the smell of a nice just dump from Heidi.
Oh my God. I thought I was gonna say farts, and I was gonna say both of us are like real gassy in the morning.
Yeah,
like,
but it's because we're getting our
because
fat
we're
in.
ready to go relieve ourselves.
All right. But real talk though, most Americans lack fiber in their diet. And that's one thing, if you first talk in the Pacific for, especially when we travel, we make sure, regardless of what we're eating, because we'll, get some fun food in there, make sure we hit our protein and our fiber goals.
Yeah.
Okay. Fiber is so important for regularity. It's important for heart health. There is studies upon studies upon studies that show your health, overall health, mortality, everything is better when you are consuming a large amount of fiber, right? An adequate amount of fiber, and you're not undershooting your goals. I know the carnivore crowd will come in here and be like, you don't need fiber and all this stuff. And it's like, I gotta go by the studies are out there completely lean in the favor that higher fiber diets lead to better health.
Now, it's really important whether you're taking a fiber supplement or you're just adding more fiber into your diet, you have to drink more water.
Yes.
Your body needs a lot of water in order to process that fiber. And if you're not drinking a lot of water, you can have the opposite effect. You can get constipated. It can be very uncomfortable. So while fiber can help with the smooth gliding of your bowel movements, if you're not drinking enough water, it can absolutely have the opposite effect. So fiber is important. We just like these capsules. We like the psyllium. We think that it's just one of the purest forms. But even if you do things like the powder, I used to do the powder in my coffee in the morning. You can't taste it. What is it? It's like a green bottle.
Medmucil. Well, so
yeah, there's lots of different options.
This is the Kirtland. So again, Costco.
Costco.
Like, we're not Yeah,
This is not sponsored by Costco.
Though I would definitely take a sponsorship
Yeah.
at Costco because we drop $400 there every week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on groceries. But it's very, very easy to meet your fiber intake with a supplement. Not saying, obviously, eat your vegetables, eat your fruits. Another way we really like Ezekiel bread. That's a good source of fiber. Then oatmeal too. Oats is another great source of fiber. But just overall, it's such an important thing that I feel like so many people overlook, especially like in the fitness space. I'm seeing it become more popular in the fitness space, with bodybuilders and the fitness athletes, all that. Understanding the importance of the gut and feeding the gut healthy ingredients, and fiber does that as well. So definitely a staple. Oh, okay.
All right, the next one, yeah. So we've been taking this for a while, and it's turmeric, but it's the curcumin, and this is so great, especially if you do lift for inflammation. So this is really great at helping, with reducing inflammation. It is an antioxidant. It's great for brain and heart health. And this one I was told was really important for me to be taking as well, being that I am on HRT, hormone replacement therapy.
One thing I will say though, with turmeric, curcumin, for men, this is a DHT, not blocker, but it can reduce your DHT, which can be good or bad depending on your goals, right? If you're trying to save your hairline, if you're trying to keep your prostate, small, you don't want, excessive DHT. But, I've even kind of noticed with this is why, again, I don't dose this every day. I kind of do it again every 3 days because it does have effects on lowering DHT. And I already take saw palmetto for just prostate health since I am on TRT. And I'm trying to, keep my hair there, especially after getting a hair transplant. What I do have, I am trying to limit some DHT. So when you block too much DHT though, you can lose some aggression. You can lose some sex drive. Some of the stuff that I do like. Right,
he likes his aggressive sex drive.
I do, yeah. It makes for a good time. And I think someone else likes it as well.
So with the curcumin, a good one will include black pepper because the black pepper helps that absorb. Also fats help that absorb. So most vitamins, I always say most vitamins, if you take with breakfast, eating some eggs, eating a meal that has good fats in it, that will help your body to absorb it properly.
Speaking of belly, probiotic.
Okay.
I'm saying what goes in the belly.
That's true. Gut, yeah.
Gut health.
So this is a women's daily probiotic. Guess where I got it, guys? Costco. So 1 tablet, and this is really super great just again for immune system, energy. And this is also, there's certain different probiotics in it that are blended to support a woman's body as well. And if you're someone who's, prone to, yeast infections or different cycles, at different times in your cycle, your pH is off, and that leaves you open to more sort of infections. And having a probiotic daily just helps to kind of balance that and keep that homeostasis within your body.
Now, I personally don't take this one because it's a women's one.
Yeah.
If I were to take this, I'd probably turn to a female by next week.
No.
Just messing. No, even if I were to take this, I'd be fine. It would still give me beneficial stuff. For me, I'm sensitive to probiotics. I've always been that way. It's been hard for me to find a good one. What I've noticed, if I eat more prebiotics, like fermented food, things like that, they tend to sit better in my gut. That is one thing to keep in mind. When you do start probiotics, typically a lot of times you'll have diarrhea or constipation. You just got to kind of let it work in your system. And
you also have to make sure you're paying attention to the dosing, and maybe you just can't take as high of a dose. That's okay too. Just kind of, play around with it. Acidophilus is a pretty good basic probiotic that if you're looking for just a basic, not too much, just kind of see how your body reacts, I would recommend that.
It's like your ride or die girl.
Yeah.
It's like you for me. You're like the acidophilus to me.
Oh my gosh. I'm the acidophilus to your turmeric.
But too much gives me diarrhea.
Ew, you're so gross.
All right, next one I want to talk about I love this. And hey, again, NutriCost. I just do they have like the little chemical compound right there. It makes it all look like scientific, you know? I'm taking like something like boom, like turn me into Spider-Man. No, but all right, L-tyrosine. Now, L-tyrosine, you'll see this a lot in pre-workouts. You'll see it in like focus formulas. You'll even see it like in some mood formulas because it does affect like dopamine, right? Now, I like L-tyrosine and I dose it at about 3 to 5 grams pre-workout. That might seem like a lot, but you have like, everyone knows like Gorilla Mind or Gorilla Mode. I've actually never used a pre-workout, but it's got a shit ton of tyrosine in that. What I noticed from this is very, very, very good for focus and even just like mood for me. I take it pre-workout, it helps me lock in. Like I could honestly just take this and caffeine and be locked in for my workout when it comes to like that focus, you know, that mental clarity. There's a lot of other ingredients out there. You'll see in pre-workouts, you'll see in nootropic formulas. But for me, I found L-tyrosine to be the most acute and the most noticeable. So this is something I keep in my stack for pre-workout. But what I will do, I will cycle this. So I will make sure after I've used it for, you know, probably 6 to 8 weeks, that I do take a good 1 to 2 weeks off of it. But this is one of my favorite ingredients that, although I do cycle it, I want to make sure that it was in our rotation that we talk about.
All right, that brings us.
No, save the king for last.
Oh,
okay.
I think that is last.
Put your hand down. No,
my apologies.
There's a big bag sitting right here.
I know. I thought you kind of talked about that.
We got to talk about more.
My apologies, guys. I was jumping the gun.
So bulk supplements. This is another brand, and you'll primarily see them on Amazon again. Bulk supplements is awesome. They carry tons and tons of ingredients. Name the ingredient, they probably got it. Okay. They do. I think they do some formulas, but with them, I always just get their single ingredient stuff. Namely, I get their L-citrulline malate from them. Now, L-citrulline. So back in the day, everyone thought L-arginine, which is an amino acid, just like L-citrulline. Everyone thought L-arginine was like the go-to to produce nitric oxide and to give you a pump and all that kind of stuff. It eventually does, you know, through the pathway, you know, lead to some vasodilation. But, you know, it's L-citrulline is actually the most effective for increasing your pump, your blood flow, all that. And that's why 99.9% of the pre-workouts out there will include L-citrulline. Now, besides, you know, the meathead in me is like, yes, I like L-citrulline because I take it pre-workout, gives me more blood flow, gives me a better pump, better workout. But this is good for blood pressure. Okay, so for high blood pressure, you want something that, you know, doesn't constrict your blood vessels. You want something that opens them up. L-citrulline is great for that. Boner City, you know, if you want some better erections, L-citrulline is great for that. You know, because again, it opens up the blood flow, opens up, you know, your veins, all that kind of stuff. And it does have studies on it too for like reducing fatigue. So for exercise fatigue, you know, helps you push out more reps, just more endurance. And again, like who doesn't want to go to the gym and have a nice juicy pump?
Everyone wants that. You got to be a pump seeker.
Yeah, especially like.
And pumps are important. You know, we've talked about it on other episodes. I remember before I got into weightlifting and into my fitness journey, Charles would always talk about the pump. And I'm like, what is a pump? Like, what are you talking about?
Best thing ever.
And then when it finally happened to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. Like, I get it.
Just like Arnold said, the pump feels about as good as coming.
But basically, to keep it short, your muscle can grow without a pump. But really what happens when you get a pump is the muscle is literally filling with fluid, with like water and blood, and it's getting bigger. And it's the most effective way to grow your muscles. And yeah, so if you're, you know, you don't need a pump every time, but if you're not ever getting that pump, then your body isn't growing like effectively to its max potential.
And that's a sad life to never get a pump. If you never had a pump before.
And this is how I describe my pump. I describe it as like my muscle is like a volcano that's like getting ready to erupt. Like it feels like.
I think you just described an orgasm.
I guess Arnold. Arnold was on something.
It's building a fire. You're like,
And then you get like,
release.
and it's kind of painful. Like a good pump is like painful. Oh gosh.
Hey, keep going.
But yeah, and that's what it feels like to me. So everyone, it feels a little bit different to everyone, but it's very satisfying. Oh my gosh, stop.
Depends on the spot that you're hitting. But no, I love L-citrulline because again, I take this pre-workout. Usually I do doses anywhere from 4 grams up to 6 grams. I go to the gym. I get a really good pump, get the blood flow going. Then I come home. I keep that pump going, man, because that pump, this works systemically. So, if it helps my arms get nice and veiny and blood going through there, the third arm,
if you saw,
same deal.
We did a funny video about like soulmates, what they say, like our soulmate sign language, basically. And we talk about that post-workout cardio, wink, wink.
Yes.
That's his favorite cardio.
It is. It's best. You come back, because again, you come back from the gym, you're in a good mood. You're
yes, it is.
You got a pump going.
Good timing.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's get to what we think is, and as a trainer, this is the only supplement that I really encourage and recommend like everyone to be taking, both physically, neurotropically, like for your brain. It is.
There's so many
benefits, and that's creatine.
In fact, we did a whole. This is before we did YouTube, so this is back on audio. We did a whole episode on freaking why you should take creatine.
Yeah. And so we'll do another one. We'll do another one for YouTube, but we definitely recommend everyone take this. And I remember for a while we were getting half a cow, like half a grass-fed cow. So we were eating primarily like beef, because you can find creatine in, beef.
Meat, yeah.
And we were eating a lot of red meat, like all the time. And there was huge, like I totally noticed a difference in my performance and my size, like in the gym. And I absolutely think it was, the creatine. So creatine is one that it's not a myth. Like it will make you stronger. It will it fills your muscles too. Like it hydrates your muscles.
It's literally like probably the most studied supplement since like over the past 3 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, thousands of studies on creatine. And we know now that it's not just for gym performance. Again, it's for anti-aging. It's for brain health. It's for concentration. Shit, if you get bad sleep, it's been shown now that if you take creatine the next morning, that's, not saying it's going to replace your bad sleep, but it's going to help you bounce back faster.
Yeah, there were studies shown specifically on active duty military members where they're not getting good sleep. They're under high stress. And those who took creatine, they had much better comeback. Like they were able to recover a lot better the next day. And yeah, creatine is definitely something we would encourage everyone to take, but it is something that you have to take daily. It is not something a lot of people consider it, it's only for pre-workout. And it is, like we put it, it's in most pre-workouts and then we add more, but you still need to be taking it even if you're not working out. And it compounds, it builds up in the body. So you might notice a little bit of effects immediately, but you won't notice your full effects until you've consistently been taking it for at least like 2 to 3 weeks. And that's if you're taking it every day consistently, that's how you're going to get the full maximum effects from it.
Yeah. And for us, we do creatine HCl. Monohydrate is the most studied. It's the way to go. Personally, for us, it's just a little hard to digest versus creatine HCl. It's a little bit easier on the digestive system, gives you the same benefits. And we use Muscle Tech. We get this has 120 servings. Right. And I do 2 scoops. You do 1 scoop, right?
Yep.
So for both of us, this lasts 40 days and you get this for like $25 on Amazon. Yeah, it's again, like if you're not taking creatine, even if like, again, you're not a gym rat, you're not crazy concerned about performance, just for health, it's not a bodybuilding supplement anymore. It is for everyone. And everyone, in my opinion, should be on creatine.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for general health, your brain health, everything. Now, you'll see a lot of what I think are gimmicks out there. The newest craze is creatine gummies. You'll see creatine and you'll see lots of marketing around it. Like, take this for a booty. And it's like, yeah.
I know what brain you're talking about.
I know.
So it's
cringe.
Like infuriating.
It is. It's very cringe and very annoying. But
I thought we were done with like It reminds me of supplement ads from like the 90s.
Absolutely.
Where it's
Yeah.
like such bullshit to where you look back and it's like, wow, people fell for that. And there's a brand out there with creatine gummies, and they're doing the same thing. It's like, dude, 2025, and I blame TikTok and stuff for this. But
Oh
it's like,
yeah, absolutely.
brands are still getting away with this bullshit,
Yeah.
dude. Like, bro.
So really all that to say is it is so cheap and so basic. Like this costs $24 on Amazon for 120 servings.
Yeah.
And you'll see gummies that are like a 30-day serving for like 40, $50. Don't get it.
No.
If gummies help you to like actually be consistent taking it, this doesn't taste bad if you mix it. You could even just mix it with water. It's very like
Or get
salty and
capsules.
sour. But yeah, get capsules.
Dude, don't pay a shit ton of money for creatine.
Yeah, you don't. It's cheap. You do not need to spend a lot of money. If it helps you to get gummies to actually be consistent, cool. If that floats your boat, awesome, do it. But you do not need to be spending a ton of money on this.
No. So wrapping it all up, again, this is a snapshot at what we typically have in our routine 99.9% of the time. We use other supplements here and there, but a lot of them, we'll cycle them or we'll just like try them out, right? And then, forget about them, bring them back in here and there. And then, we use like pre-workout formulas, and pre-workout's a good pre-workout. We're having used to own a company that we made our own pre-workout. We're very, discriminative with the pre-workouts that we get, making sure that's transparent dosing, all the right stuff in there. And again, we'll do a whole episode on pre-workouts. That's a whole other deep dive. But, for us, these cover most of our needs and what we can't get from our diet and what add value and benefit to our life. So hopefully this helped you all. Kind of gave you, again, a glimpse into, what we use in addition to our, diet and training routine.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for checking us out.
All right. We'll see you all later.